If you want to become a better leader in just short amount of time, then subscribe to Raj Shamani Clips channel. Here you get all the leadership lessons in short time. Do you think the world order is going to change now? Is it coming?
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to.
The world war, the next world war is coming. Do you think that?
I hope not. But I do think we should be prepared for a possibility that, China may act on Taiwan and the Western world will push back. That is a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, when I talk to Chinese people, they say, no, we're not going there. But who knows what compulsions. I mean, the problem with more authoritarian countries is it's all in the mind of the leader. And you don't know what goes on in the mind of the leader.
So you think the change of order will, like the world order will change?
I think it has to, simply because the rise of China, the rise of India, eventually the rise of Brazil, all these don't have a seat at the table. China has, India doesn't, Brazil doesn't. On the other hand, the UK and France have, because they were the old powers. So there will have to be a reordering. The other problem, I think, is the UN is so weak.
Yeah.
And so they can't even engage in establishing peace, for example, in Gaza. And so we will have to think of how we create a stronger organization for global peace. And the UN at this point is totally emasculated. And which is also tells me that India getting a seat on the Security Council, a permanent seat, it's good for status, but the UN is a dysfunctional organization.
Which other three countries you feel can be like competitors to India in order to get the kind of recognition or the power that we have? Let's say if there's a new world order coming, and right now, who do you think what are the top three countries who have a chance to be in this new world order?
Look, I think
China, India.
China is, of course, the US, I think, is not going to be left behind in any way. The US, China, European Union may try and integrate much more and will be seen as more of a country if it goes that way. So China, India, the European Union, the US. But also I think Indonesia is a country which is very populous, but which is also growing quite fast. That is going to, over time, be a much more important player than it is now. And then you look in other parts of the world, certainly if Brazil, gets its act together. Brazil is an incredibly capable economy. Mexico, because of its proximity to the United States, again, growing fast, but it has a huge problem with the drug issue within. But even in Africa, Nigeria is, some of my most spectacular students in class have been Nigerian.
Really?
They have really smart people. They have a very capable, but again, they're held back by, a government which doesn't work that well. So, these are all possibilities. And there are other countries that are smaller that are knocking on the door. Saudi Arabia wants to exercise influence much more than it has at present. So we'll see a change.
Right now, if you have to look at, let's say, a close competitor to India, that'd be only Indonesia. No one else.
I think in terms of population, we are so much bigger than everybody else, right? The only country which is anywhere near our size is China, which is why everybody is looking for India as an alternative to China.
+1,
But I think that if you are willing to go down to 250 million, then you're talking about countries like Indonesia.
And so you talked about Saudi Arabia. I'll just wrap up like last 2-3 questions because I know you have to leave. But so Saudi Arabia keeps going on and giving these speeches that we're going to be the new Europe of the world. Right. Do you think that'll happen?
They have a lot of money. I don't know how well that money is being spent. I talked a lot with
Well, they're spending on football for sure.
Well, that's the issue, right? China also spent a lot on football, but didn't actually get anywhere. And now they're cutting back on all that spending. I think there's a lot of money available in Saudi Arabia right now, and they're trying to figure out what their path for growth is. But, going back to this book, it all comes down to the quality of your people and your assets. We emphasize, again, we need to make a huge difference in education and healthcare to get many of our people to the level where they can get those spectacular jobs. We talk throughout on how, when we talk to entrepreneurs, again and again in India, they say we don't find people.
Yeah.
When you talk to the Saudis, they want to do many of the industries that we already have a presence in. No? They want to do IT in a big way. But then you have to ask, do they have the human capital to do that IT? And if you're spending, 10, 15 hours a week reading the Quran in school, you're not spending enough time doing math and so on. So they have to change the nature of their curriculum, because there was a lot more emphasis on that in the past. They're thinking of doing that, but that requires a change in your whole government attitude. And I think they're energized about it. But this is basically saying to us, we have a lot of competition also from the rest of the world as they change.
Yeah.
And we better change also to really focus on investing in our human capital.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. For more such clips, please subscribe to Raj Shamani Clips channel, because here we get India's top leaders to help you become a better leader for tomorrow.